So it's another day. You guys have missed out on a couple of things that I've been trying to take care of, and most of that is digging a trench from the house out here to the pool house. I really didn't want to have to go through that whole process. It was really a lot of busy work, and trying to get down to 2 feet for PVC conduit was a lot to try and take care of. But the ditch is dug. Now I need to get this line run through the panel, through the ditch, and up into the house. So you're going to see me kind of go through that part, drilling the hole down through the bottom of the floor and running from this side. I'm not really going to show anything from trying to run the wire up underneath the house. It's kind of cramped. There isn't a whole lot of room. And honestly, I'm a little frustrated about this whole process of getting this line run. The other panel that's in the house, it's a mess. There are cut lines in there that are going absolutely nothing, and the breakers are on. I've made the crawl up under the house. There are cut lines under the house to breakers that are on that I could have hit my head on and gotten zapped, or anything could have happened. So right now, all the power is off in the house, and I'm at the same time I'm pulling those lines that are connected to breakers that are still on that apparently they have no use. I mean, we've been here for 10 years and they've never been run to anything that has ever been missing power in the house. So I'm a little flustered, but I really need to get back on this and get this done. So I'm going to at least show you the process on this side, and we'll just skip you seeing just fooling around over here. There's really nothing special to it, but at least I give you something to see on this side. And I apologize if that process over there, maybe there's something you'd like to see. There are people that can do it a lot better than me, I'm sure. And right now I'm just tired. But I'm going to go ahead and get into it. And yeah, all right, let's just jump into it. And for now, too, the conduit's just going to be dry fit. I'm not going to glue anything together just yet. I just want to get things run, and then we'll worry about gluing everything later. Oh, and just so you know, I'm starting off doing the neutral. That way I can go ahead and mark it, and I won't get it confused with the other two black lines. So we'll go ahead and mark that. This part is neutral. So you pretty much get it on this end for the night. I got a lot of work to do as far as traveling under the house. So this is pretty much where I'm going to stop with this part, at least from what y'all see for the night, and we'll pick it up tomorrow. So this is what I'm dealing with right now, and what has me so frustrated. It's just a mess. It's lazy work. I don't know why. I'm sure there have been a lot worse, but the fact that I'm having to deal with this and trying to trace some of this stuff out, because some of it's connected to nothing, and they're just live wires running underneath the house that aren't connected to anything. So yeah, it just has me frustrated, and I just needed to take a break from it for a little bit. But yeah, that's it. So it's another day. I've been doing some work. I finished running this line for our neutral. So I'm going to go ahead and cut and install this line. I'm going to mark it as our neutral with this little bit of tape, since it's just a black wire. I think I mentioned before that this is a 4-gauge copper, which is perfectly fine for a 60 amp main breaker in the house. So I'm going to go ahead and get this part installed, and then we'll work on running another bit of line through the house, and I'll show you those two hot lines being installed. Wow, I was actually able to cut that. And unfortunately, I don't have the grounding rod yet, so we won't be able to turn any power on tonight. I need to pick that up tomorrow. And I've heard there are a couple of techniques on installing ground wires without having to hammer anything in. Apparently you can use water and just kind of ram it into the ground. So I'm going to try that method first, and hopefully there aren't going to be any rocks or anything in the way, since it does have to be 8 feet in the ground. If I do run into trouble, I am told that I can dig 30 inches into the ground at a trench at a depth of 30 inches, and then bury the rod horizontally. So I know we have a lot of shale. This is a rocky area. So I hope it doesn't come to that. I'd rather not have to dig another trench. But if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. A few jiggles and then retighten just to make sure everything settles. That one's in there. Okay, start moving on to the hot. Be back in a few. Should really have better wire cutters than this, but this is just what I had on hand. So it's what I'm using. A little bit of elbow grease, it works. Alright, that one's in. One more to go. I feel better. I feel a lot better. Let's do this. Last one. And the gloves are off. This is it for the night. We'll be tied in. Minus the ground, which I'll use the excess gauge 4 for that, which I don't think the ground necessarily has to be that big, but I have it, quite a few feet of it, so we're going to use it. So I paid for it. It was expensive, so we're going to use every bit of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and line this last little bit up, get it in, and tomorrow we'll worry about the ground. Give it a few wiggles. Make sure that it gets good and tight. A couple more wiggles. Looks good. All right, we are in. Everything's in. It's in. I think it's going to be pretty obvious that this part is going to be the ground, since it'll be over here in this ground bar. The It's not going to be green though, um, but that should be okay. I mean, I could always wrap it in tape or put a piece of green tape around it later showing that it is ground. But that'll be done then. I will see y'all tomorrow. So, it is the next day. I've already spent some time getting the grounding rod in place outside. It's a lot of work for 8 feet, but I will say that the water method does work. At least for me, it did up to a point. I was only able to get down about 4 feet, and then I couldn't seem to go any further, whether it be from a root or maybe just some kind of rock in the way. I couldn't seem to get down any further, and I thought I was going to end up having to dig that 30-inch deep trench that I had mentioned yesterday. But I ended up just letting the ground soak for a little bit, and went and done the rest with a sledgehammer. And all in all, it took less than 10 minutes to do the entire thing. So it wasn't too awful bad, but it was enough that I ended up getting a blood blister. I don't know, poor me, right? It happens. But it's done. It's out of the way. I've got that part of the ground connected. I'm just going to run it on up through the box and into place. So we'll just go ahead and connect it to this terminal right quick. And I still have a bunch of this line left over. I'm not sure what to do with it, but I'm sure there may be a project in time that may require another bit of 4-gauge copper, so I'll have it on hand. And I do believe the thickness on here, you know, it matters as far as it being too thin, but I believe 4-gauge will do just fine. I don't think I really need the ground to be quite this big, but I have it. And I think, like I said yesterday, I have it, so I'm going to use it. Well, I'll let it go to waste. And I do have some green tape, so I'm going to go ahead and mark this as our ground. Not that I think anyone's going to be coming out here and looking at this panel besides me anyway. But you never know what will happen in the future, whether I'm still around or if there ever comes a time that we move. At least all of this will be set up for someone else. Yeah, I do believe the squeaking was from me tightening down the sheathing. So I backed off a little bit just to make sure we had good contact. Okay, that's in. Temporarily, I'd like to go ahead and put the cover over, get the plates removed. You know, go ahead and size this up. Not really size it up, but just get it into place so I can see where everything is right now. Because as far as this goes, this is finished. Everything in here is finished. From here, there are a couple other things that I need to do before I turn power on. Some tests that I need to do, but I want to go ahead and get this covered up for now, just temporary. I'll probably need to remove everything once, will have to move everything once drywall goes up. So I just need to get it up here for now so I can get an eyeball for everything right quick. I get it's a little too late to ask, but does anyone know of a good way to knock out these I guess you'd call them knockouts from this panel door frame thing? Yeah, I need to look that up right quick. So apparently this is designed to remove these in this direction. Well, it should say top to bottom since I have this inverted. So I guess that leaves me at a little disadvantage. I think I'm going to end up having to buy some spacers of some kind to cover these back up, because I'm going to have to remove all of these to get to the ones that I need to use here. So looks like I gave myself a little bit more work to do. But it's done. They're out. I'm just going to need some spacers to fill in all of those blank spots. So, there we have it. Not the safest thing in the world by any means. Like I said, I'm going to have to get those spacers or cover plates or whatever they might be called. I'll figure that out tomorrow. But at least it's up. I've got an idea of what everything looks like. Are we latching? We are latching. Do we open? Yes, we open. So from here, what I want to do is wire in one of these outlets, and I'm going to choose the one that's closest to the box here. Disconnect it from the rest of the lines around, just to check to make sure that where is my I just want to test it out. I just want to see if everything's wired up properly. And since this is just for a test, I'm only going to wire up one. And I'm going to leave it disconnected from the rest of the building. What I want to do is what I want to be able to do is pull all of these outlets out eventually before I do the before I replace any of the outlets. I want to get the drywall up. When I use the roto zip, I want to be able to use the roto zip going around all of these boxes before leaving these outlets in. That way I don't puncture anything, I'm not getting anywhere near anything, but I can just go ahead and cut those out of the way without interfering with any of these. Most of your outlets, well, some of your outlets come with a little depth gauge to show you how far your copper should be sticking out. So it's just a helpful little thing. Also, remember when you're wiring up, your neutral will go on the silver and your hot will go on the gold, or might be brass. So, with that wired in, I'm going to run inside right quick, flip that 60 amp breaker, and then turn this 20 amp on, just to check this part of the circuit and see what kind of damage we've done, whether this thing decides to explode on me or not. I'll be right back. If I've done everything right, these two yellows should light up and nothing else, or orange. Either way, these two should light up and nothing else. So hopefully we've done things correctly. Your fingers. And I did it right. Oh, I'm ready to celebrate off of that one. There's power out here. Okay, so that was a nice little test for the moment. I'm going to go ahead and shut everything off back inside the house. I still have other things to do, and I don't want to risk getting electrocuted in the process. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. Okay, it's turned off in there, and while I'm ready to celebrate, I can't do that just yet. There are a couple more things that I want to do right quick. I need to wire in the switches for the ceiling fan and the lights. I've got a dimmer switch that I need to test, and I want to go ahead and wire in all of the lights just temporarily. The only reason being is just to make sure that they work. This is the time to do it. There's no insulation, there's no drywall, and before any of that stuff goes up, I'd rather go ahead and make sure that everything works like it's supposed to. Otherwise, I would need to get back into the walls for all the wiring, and well, I give myself another headache. So I'm going to go ahead and tackle that right quick, and hopefully our good luck continue. I'm going with this Lutron LED plus dimmer. Um, I was told that this is compatible with the halo lights that I have. I have 6-inch halo lights. So I'm hoping this works. Otherwise, I'll have to take it back and we'll try again. So, like I said, this is the time to do it. So, if I did this correctly, I wanted the light switch to be here first as you're coming in, to be the first thing you hit, and the ceiling fan switch to be here. So, if I've done all that correctly, we'll just find out. And as before, this is just temporary, just to make sure everything's going to work as it should. Temporary. This is temporary. Have I said that before? It's just temporary. Okay, so this next part, I'm just going to hold off on filming it because you're going to see that whole process when it's finally put up there for good. So, like I said, temporarily, I don't know if I've said that before or not, temporarily, I'm going to wire in the lights. Just check to see if they work, but you'll see that part, and for you it'll be just a moment. For me it'll probably be around 30 minutes from now. So, it got dark. I've already turned the power back on inside the house. So now all we have to do is flip the switch, well, slide the switch, it's a slider, to see whether I did a decent job of adding lights in here or not. Now, I will go ahead and say before I turn these on, I only wired in 3 of them. I still have so much other things to do. I figured, with 3 is a decent test. It'll let me know that everything's wired up the way it's supposed to be, and I can get these down, and then we can move on, and then we can get ready to put in insulation. But I still have to wire up the section for, you know what? I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Let's just go ahead and turn these lights on to see if they work. So here we go. Where are we? 3, 2, 1, and we are sliding up now. I put this on the 4,000 setting. I guess this would be considered daylight. I'm not sure. They work. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. I mean, I am, because I'm the one who did it. This is neat that it can be turned up or down in that fashion. So we can mark this off our list. With that going, I know the ceiling fan will work just fine. So what I was going to say while we were still in complete darkness, I still need to run the 10-2 over for the disconnect to the mini split unit. I think I still have some time. I may go ahead and do that now, but I need to go ahead and turn all of this back off and get our work light turned back on. So, bear with me. I'll be right back. Okay, so we are back, and I want to run this 10-2 over through these studs to this wall here. I guess the good news is it still smells like fresh pine. The wood's not in that bad a shape, even though it looks it. I believe it was all repurposed. but it's still sturdy and it isn't rotten, so it's a plus. So one of the things I'm going to need to concentrate on before I add insulation is to do some serious cable management and some serious cleaning. And that'll be done soon enough. Had a lot of success today. That's going to be it for the night. Tomorrow I'll be installing this disconnect for the future mini split. And we'll be done for the wiring for the time being. Because after that, I'm just going to be going through and cleaning up off camera. But so I will see y'all in the morning. Well, no, not tomorrow. I will see y'all later in the day. It's been a heck of a week. So I'll see you guys tomorrow where we'll get right on this disconnect. Night night. Hello everyone, it's the next day. We had some rain, so you didn't really get a chance to see me do this install. I really didn't want to get my phone wet at the time, but there's really not much to it. As you can see, it's all mounted up. I've got the conduit ran, I've got our lines in, but just in case anyone really didn't know about this part, there's no neutral here. Both of the white and the black wires are both hot, and the ground is also wired in, as you can see there. They are connected to the line marked up at the top. I had initially thought that those two down here at the bottom were for the line in, but those are for the load out. So always, when you put these disconnects in, make sure that you realize which wires go where. It doesn't matter which order as long as they're in the right places, which if you've got line coming from a panel, it's going to go to the line, and load goes to whatever is being powered. But yeah, that is it. I'm going to get this closed up, and that is going to end this segment. And anybody who made it this far, I do appreciate y'all tuning in. And hope to see y'all in the next one when we get ready to start doing some insulation. In the meantime, I'm going to be doing some cleaning up over the next couple of days to get ready. So I will see y'all then. Thanks for watching.